question I need to ask here at this point, since 9/11, is America closer to the Chinese brand totalitarianism, or are we freer? Are we more of a free republic since September 11th? Folks, the fact of the matter is, there are evil men that conspire in the world to rule the world and to dominate it. These international, what I call Zionist communists, because it's the Zionist arm of the Jewish faith and the Jewish race, I should say. Now, let me just again emphasize, this is not to say all Jews are evil. Absolutely not. This is not hate-filled anti-Semitism. But even honest Jews will have to admit that a certain extremist segment of their race and their culture are known as Zionists. They have in their mind and in their heart the willingness, the goal to dominate and rule the world, and in doing so, to decrease the world population in massive amounts. I give you Henry Kissinger's report back in 1974. I would submit, folks, that the Republic of America just cannot coexist with such a diseased mindset. These men know this, so America must be cleansed before it is conquered. And folks, the New World Order cannot become reality as long as America is a superpower. So how can this cleansing best be done? I would submit that a natural pandemic that sickens and kills half of the American population, specifically the young men and women of America, would be a perfect first step in their godless plan. I give you the Zionist New World Order guidestones located just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. Here's a picture of these monolithic guidestones, as they're called. Here's what these guidestones give us. They give the New World Order blueprint. It's what they hope to see accomplished for their plan for Mother Earth, the planet Earth, the goddess Gaia, as they call it. The future world vision consists of a set of 10 guidelines or principles, as engraved on the Georgia Guidestones, in 8 different languages, one language on each face of the 4 large upright stones. Moving clockwise around the structure from due north, these languages are first English, then Spanish, Swahili, Hindu, Hebrew, Arabic, Ancient Chinese, and Russian. The message in English reads, quote, Number 1 guidestone: to maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Number 1 guideline on the guidestone. Then they want to guide reproduction wisely. In other words, they want to make sure that humans breed correctly. Third, unite humanity with a living new language. They want a one world language. Fourth, to rule passion, faith, tradition, all things with tempered reason. They want to rule. Fifth, protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Sixth, let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a one world court. Seventh, avoid petty laws and useless officials. Seventh, balance personal rights with social duties. And finally, prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. In other words, we will tell you how to have a religion as well. We will have a state-controlled religion. And finally, be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. And emphasize, again, leave room for nature. So how does China fit into this? What's the China connection? Besides being the place where Sanofi Pasteur is manufacturing 100 million dosages for America's population. Notice the Zionists' number one objective is to reduce the Earth's population from its current 6.7 billion to just 500 million individuals. Just exactly how are these wise humanitarian leaders going to accomplish this amazingly decadent goal? I would ask you, would they hesitate to use a well-documented biological agent, such as the 1918 pandemic influenza virus, to achieve their desire for rule? Again, let me reemphasize, Dr. Jeffrey Taubenberger's team at Fort Detrick that recreated that terribly deadly 1918 virus, Taubenberger, his funds came primarily from the Rockefeller Foundation. The same group of people that have erected the Georgia Guidestones. We have them showing the people what their plan is, and on the other hand, covertly preparing the means to cleanse the earth, recreating the perfect biological weapon. Would these people seek to camouflage their newly resurrected 1918 virus, their super biological weapon, and blame it on, but really truthfully, a benign emergent bird flu when it is deployed? How would they, in other words, how could they cover their tracks for this release of the 1918 pandemic again? They would need to have a scapegoat, an excuse, a camouflage. Would they use their Chinese lackeys to initiate the plot, just as they used them to build the intercontinental railroads in America in the 1880s? Well, I say yes, indeed. The China connection actually speaks. The following is the actual text, folks, of a speech delivered in December 2005 by Comrade Shi Haotian, the vice chairman of China's military commission, to China's top officers and generals of the military. Keep in mind, folks, that China has for many years advocated deceitful and covert warfare against its enemies. This is their modus operandi. There should be little question that a bird flu pandemic would deeply excite them. Don't also forget how they have poisoned thousands of American pets and knowingly placed lead paints on toddlers' toys. This wasn't done by accident, folks. It was done by design and to see what America would do against them. And you know what? Nothing has changed. The contracts still keep coming in. And we just kind of click our tongues and say, oops, we can't upset the Chinese. Because the Chinese have $1.4 trillion and counting of our T-bills, our Treasury bills. They can really do control the American economy in a very real way. Here's Defense Minister Hao Shen's speech. Let me just read it to you word for word. Let me tell you that I have confirmed this speech as being accurate from 3 separate independent sources. I guarantee you it is accurate. It is true. Quote, "Comrades, I'm very excited today because the large-scale online survey, Sina.com," by the way, look up Sina.com on a search engine or just type it into your computer. It's a Chinese, absolute Chinese propaganda site run by the Chinese Communist Party. That was done for us showed that our next generation is quite promising and our party's cause will be carried on. In answering the question, will you shoot at women, children, and prisoners of war, more than 80% of the respondents answered in the affirmative, exceeding by far our expectations. Today I'd like to focus on why we asked Sina.com to conduct this online survey among our people. My speech today is a sequel to my speech last time, during which I started with a discussion of the issue of the three islands, which are, of course, Taiwan, Diaoyu Islands, and the Spratly Islands, and mentioned that 20 years of the idyllic theme of peace and development had come to an end, and concluded that modernization under the saber is the only option for China's next phase. I also mentioned that we have a vital stake overseas. The central issue of this survey appears to be whether one should shoot at women, children, and prisoners of war, but its real significance goes far beyond that. Ostensibly, our intention is mainly to figure out what the Chinese people's attitude towards war really is. If these future soldiers do not hesitate to kill even non-combatants, they'll naturally be doubly ready